Hello, Hakuna Matata, everyone. It's Tuesday, September 19th. It's around the middle of the day, I guess. I don't know what time it is. And we are getting started, man. We did a oil change on my air compressor. Well, I guess I should back up. I brought a bunch of my tools over here to the shop from my house and my storage unit, my air compressor and a bunch of hand tools and stuff. We got the Gantry crane fully assembled and ready to use. I've disconnected, well, first I turned off the circuit breaker at the back of the bus at my house battery that charges my chassis battery. Then I disconnected my chassis battery. These two drain lines, oh, look at that guy, I need to wipe that off. When I was in California at Don Ashton's place, I'm looking for my little towel. Here we are. When I was at Don Ashton's place, I did a transmission fluid change, and I wanted to pull these loose to drain the cooler and the lines. And for the life of me, I mean, I was leaning. I had 2 wrenches on here, and I was not only trying my hardest to squeeze the 2 wrenches together to crack the nut loose, this nut loose. I was using a giant pair of channel lock pliers to squeeze the wrenches, and I could literally see the wrenches flexing. So last week, I squirted this down with PB Blaster, and then we drove over here so it got warm. And today I just got this old Centec, looks like a Craftsman 1.25 inch on there, and it came right off, man. Snug that up a little bit. So I mean, I was stressing over that. I actually went and bought 2 like 24-inch crescent wrenches at Harbor Freight, and I don't need them now, so that's great news. So we got the transmission cooler lines off, batteries disconnected. Oh, there goes my air compressor back, and now we're getting ready to pull the drive shaft out, and then it's going to be all the little stuff like this air line. This comes off the air compressor on the other side. It runs over the top. Yeah, I'm going to get rained out here in a minute. Some big thunder. And then we got the control lever and the switch that indicates gear selector switch. And there's not much to the transmission removal. I mean, the biggest part is disconnecting those lines. Oh, and by the way, I mean, I should show you, I bought 2 of these caps and 2 plugs on Amazon. They were only like $5 a piece, not even. And I think that's a number 12 JIC plug and cap. Looks like I need to snug that one up a little bit more. It's got a little bit of a drip to it. So hey, you know, we can work clean, right? No drip oiling everywhere. So next we're going to be taking out the drive line. I got my 1/2 inch impact here and pulling these big guys loose. And it takes a 3/8 12-point wrench to take the U-joints loose here. And I just happen to have this nice long, it's about a 10-inch long wrench. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, it's so nice and cool all of a sudden with the rain coming. All right, got to go, man. Bye. Well, we're taking a little break. I need to get some tools. And I kind of got as far as I could right now with the tools I had. Got the drive shaft out. The forward one is removed completely, and it's all the way down there by the rear wheels. The intermediate and the rear ones are disconnected, but they're just hanging there, and that's as good a place as any to keep them. I've got to get some, you know, a little 1/4 inch ratchet with some sockets and some small wrenches to unhook all the stuff. And I don't really feel like getting wet, so we're just gonna hang out here for a little bit and see if it slows up. because it's coming down pretty hard. Well, I think I'm done for the day. It's after 4. I mean, I really got a few hours left in me, but I haven't had lunch yet and I'm starving. And I'm filthy. So I gotta get cleaned up before I can eat. And I gotta go get 2 bolts. I thought I had them. The engine barring tool goes in this hole right here, and it's a little device with a couple gears in it, and it turns the flywheel. And I need 2 bolts that go in that hole, and like 8x1. And without that, I can't turn the engine. And without turning the engine, I can't line up the torque converter bolts to be able to get them out. I think that this is the access port right there for the torque converter bolts. Once I get the torque converter bolts, this transmission is pretty much ready to come out. Now, the job might actually be easier to take the engine and the transmission out together, but I've never done this before, and I don't have a lot of equipment here. I've got the gantry crane and I got a transmission jack, and I think it might go better for me to take the transmission off with the transmission jack while I have everything securely, the engine securely mounted, and then I can safely take the transmission off the engine. Really, it's about as easy as a car transmission to take out. The hardest thing has been the oil transmission dipstick tube, because the little brackets that hold the dipstick tube in place, there's one up there and there's another one up there. It's very evident that they were put on when the engine and transmission were assembled together and not in the vehicle. Hello, it's Thursday, September 21, 2023. And we're getting back on the bus again. So here's my engine barring tool. I got this on Amazon. It's really kind of a neat little deal here. The ratchet fits in this hole, and this goes up in the hole in the bell housing. I'll show you that in a second. With 2 bolts that I bought yesterday, I was screwing up the other day in my bucket full of metric bolts. There were some inch size 5/16 bolts that I mistook for 8mm, and the thread's different, so these should fit right in there. Just double check this real quick before it screws right in there perfectly. Okay, good. So let me install that guy, and I'm going to see what it takes to turn this engine. I think just a 3/8 ratchet will be good enough. All right, the barring tool does a great job. It's really easy to turn the engine with this. Just a 3/8 ratchet. I turned the engine only a little bit so far. I haven't got up against the compression strokes, so I don't know how hard that's going to be. But anyway, I was able to rotate the engine, and that takes a 15mm socket. I got a deep well here, 3/8 drive deep well with a 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter, and that gives me just the right length right there. So let's see how tough those are. If they're coming off pretty easy, I won't need to use the 1/2 inch breaker bar, or 1/2 inch ratchet I should say. I could switch to 3/8 drive. All right, that was a piece of cake, man. It was kind of handy having this 1/2 inch ratchet on there, because it was rather tight, and it's got looks like red Loctite on the threads, so it was a little snug coming off. Not to say that a 3/8 ratchet wouldn't be good enough, but that worked out just right. So let's get the rest of them. All right, so there's the transmission. There's a bracket right there. That's a safety cage, I guess you'd call it, that the drive shaft is in. So if a U-joint comes loose, the drive shaft doesn't go flinging everywhere, tear things up. I removed that from right here, so I could take the transmission and push it back. The transmission jack was absolutely perfect for this job. I mean, couldn't have been better. I learned something. I made the assumption that the fluid level was below the gasket here. It's above the gasket. And how I learned that is by pulling out the dipstick tube on the other side of the transmission right here. This is where you would put the dipstick if the dipstick were on the passenger side of the vehicle. On this bus, the dipstick is on the driver's side of the vehicle, so it looks identical to this on the other side. When I yanked out the dipstick tube, fluids came pouring out of here, so the fluid level is like somewhere up here, which is pretty wild. I didn't think it was that high in the tranny. But so we made a little bit of a mess with that. I found out I've had a transmission leak here and always wondered where it was coming from. Now that I've disconnected the electrical connector where this paper towel wad is stuffed in, there's fluid leaking out of the center of the connector where all the pins are, so that connector is bad. I'm gonna have to replace that eventually. Let's turn around here and show you what the engine side looks like. All right, so here's the little black wire I was talking about earlier. I didn't know if this was a connected underneath the positive stud of the starter or this ground cable. Turns out it's a ground, and interestingly, it's got red heat shrink on it. Unless it was, maybe it was, this is the one I chased, but I'm pretty sure they were together with this, and this is a ground, and there's this big old stud right over here someplace that all those grounds were hooked together. Yeah, this is the one I chased, because I dropped those wires down from up above right here, and this is the AC clutch, and it was the ground for that. So I got all that figured out. I figured, you know what, let's stop now while I've got more clear evidence and better recollection of things. So now this wire here, I ought to chase that to the other end and see what it goes, just to be sure. I mean, I'm almost positive through the nature of where this thing is at, it can only go in two places. The stud, and I'll show you that right here. The positive stud on the starter, which is this, okay? And I messed up and I didn't keep track of what I was doing. I just was taking things off. So it either goes there or it goes together on that stud. That's, I don't know, I can't, it's on the front side of this somewhere. I don't feel like crawling around to find it. But almost definitely that's going to be a ground also, with this big old ground here. This is ground that goes to the alternator. So the alternator has a good ground. All right, so it was pretty easy pulling out the tranny, actually. The hardest part was the darn dipstick tube, unhooking all the fasteners that held the dipstick tube in place. That was pretty tough. And these two bolts were pretty tough. There's a bracket that goes here, and there's two bolts and two nuts, and I couldn't reach them very easily. One good thing about taking the tranny out separately from the engine is the exhaust pipe flange, which is right there. You can see the bolt is out of it right there. That's just about impossible to reach from anywhere. I don't know, maybe if I took out the air filter and some other things from the front, I'd get to see that better, but that was relatively easy to do from down here. And now that the transmission's out, I could sit here comfortably and figure out how I'm going to take this bell housing loose. I mean, at first glance, you think, well, let's just take out these large, they're like 1-inch head size bolts. There's 4 on this side, 4 on the other. But when you look, there's not that much room, and there's like almost no room on this one to take the bolt out. So I still haven't figured out what we're going to do there. I'm guessing that we're going to have to take this loose, which is this bracket, and take the weight off of this, and then we can shift this thing side to side to give me access to those. I don't think I want to try to pull the engine out with these on, because it looks like they're going to interfere. Well, I guess I could try. I don't know if I want to work that hard. We've got some wiring harnesses and stuff here. The wiring is such a mess, man. The way they put it in, these are the fuel hoses that go back to the tank. I mean, that could have been routed so much better over the, you know, and there's all this empty space right here that wiring could have got in, and instead it's all wadded up right here. Yeah, it's less than perfect, but I don't want to get off task too much and monkey with that. I need to get that guy out of here. All right, I'm just hemming and hawing right now because it's nice and cool underneath here, and I'm taking a break. But we're going to be up on top here in a little bit. I got to drain the radiator, and that's going to take a while. Well, it's a little after 5:30, and I'm done for the day, man. I'm beat. So we got the radiator, the aftercooler out, and kind of did it the hard way because I didn't know any better. I unbolted these, and that was kind of tough. I could have just taken those off. This holds these torsion springs to the radiator frame. I don't really even understand how the radiator is supported in there. Oh, it looks like that might be a rubber mount that's broke. I guess that's how it, okay, now it makes sense. That's what it sits on, and it's broke. Like a motor mount, or I broke it from twisting it. All right, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take a little bit more time tonight. I'm gonna cover this up. I already covered that one, and the intake's covered up. I guess that's all I need to do. I captured all the coolant. I went and did some dumpster diving behind AutoZone. Those are containers that diesel exhaust fluid, DEF, is sold in. And there's an abundance of those in the dumpster over there. So, all right, looks good. It's very promising. We can have this engine out here in a day or two. I mean, it's completely disconnected except the fuel lines right now. It's just a matter of, oh, those relays that are right there for the intake air heaters. I think I'm gonna remove that whole panel to give me some space, because that big piece of sheet metal there is taking up all the space. All right.